Hi, and welcome. This is John Eldon with johneldon.com. The following is a show that I put together in 2015 on Christmas Day, and I thought I'd broadcast it here for you folks. What I want you to understand is that this message is one of hope. And one thing that I want to add to this message, it's about the Christmas season, and this is my present to you as well as a present to myself, because honestly, when I made this in 2015, things were kind of down, and I said, I've got to do something positive. So this is part of it, and I hope you enjoy it. Now listen, after this message, I want you to stay tuned because there's going to be some information for those of you who are struggling financially in the upcoming year. We started creating a whole bunch of new stuff, and you know what? I just want to offer it, and I hope it's something that could help you. If it doesn't speak to you, that's fine. But if nothing else, please, this message is, really, I hope that it speaks to you. So please enjoy, and Merry Christmas to you, yours. And if you're by yourself, if you are at sea listening to this, if you are on the road listening to this, if you are alone, I want you to know one thing for sure, and that is that people do care about you. And I made this message specifically because honestly, it was important for me to reach out to you, because in reaching out to you, you're helping me, and I want to thank you for that. And you're helping me to spread something that is very important to me and hopefully give hope. And you know what? There's no greater feeling than the ability to be able to reach people. So if you want to pass this on, all rights are reserved, so what? The bottom line is, please go ahead and spread this. Pass this on to your friends. That's all. I'm good with that. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this show. I'd like to welcome you to this special Christmas Eve celebration. If you find yourself away from your family, if you find yourself shut in, or if you're with a loved one tonight, and you have the chance to light a candle and gaze into the warmth. If you are not able to light a candle, then perhaps you shall sight some distant star outside, or perhaps just a friendly light in your area. And if you are not able to see, if you are in the dark, remember that there is always the warmth and light that you can feel from that which is around you. And feel the love and the caring of those who are closest to you and those who are far away. Or perhaps remember an earlier time as you were driving and listening. Or perhaps simply a time when you reached out to someone else and felt the warmth of giving on Christmas. So now I'd ask that you take a second and greet those around you, and perhaps light the candle that we spoke of earlier, and sit back and listen. Wish each one a warm and Merry Christmas, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. I don't know where this particular time will find you. And if there is no one with you, again, reach back to a time when there was someone that you could be thankful for, and which you could wish a Merry Christmas, or send out a future blessing and a future hope and a future thank you for someone yet to come. This is taken from Matthew. An angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream, saying, Joseph, son of David, do not fear to take Mary your wife, for that which is conceived in her is of the Holy Spirit. She will bear a son, and you shall call his name Jesus, for he will save his people from their sins. Mary shall bear a son, and his name shall be called Emmanuel, which means God with us. The story of Christmas from 2 Luke. And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus, that all the world should be taxed. And all went to be taxed, every one into his own city. And Joseph also went up from Galilee, out of the city of Nazareth, into Judea, on to the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David, to be taxed with Mary, his espoused wife, being great with child. And so it was that while they were there, the days were accomplished that she should be delivered. And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. And there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and the glory of the Lord shone round about them, and they were sore afraid. The angel said unto them, Fear not, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord. And this shall be a sign unto you. Ye shall find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes, and lying in a manger. And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men. And it came to pass, as the angels were gone away from them into heaven, the shepherds said one to another, Let us now go even unto Bethlehem, and see this thing which is come to pass, which the Lord hath made known unto us. And they came with haste, and found Mary and Joseph, and the babe lying in a manger. And when they had seen, they made known abroad the saying which was told them concerning the child. And all they that had heard wondered at those things which were told them by the shepherds. But Mary kept all these things, and pondered them in her heart. And the shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all the things that they had heard and seen, as it was told unto them. You see, Christmas is about the poetry, the song, the words. And no greater words have been written than by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. The Three Kings. 3 kings came riding from far away, Melchior and Gaspar and Balthazar. 3 wise men out of the east were they, and they traveled by night, and they slept by day. For their guide was a beautiful, wonderful star. The star was so beautiful, large, and clear, that all the other stars of the skies became a white mist in the atmosphere. And by this they knew that the coming was near of the prince foretold in the prophecy. 3 caskets they bore on their saddle bows, 3 caskets of gold with golden keys. Their robes were of crimson silk with rows of bells and pomegranate and furbelows, their turbans like blossoming almond trees. And so the 3 kings rode into the west, through the dusk of the night, over hill and dell, and sometimes they nodded with beard on breast, and sometimes talked as they paused to rest. With the people they met at some wayside well, Of the child that is born, said Balthazar, Good people, I pray you, tell us the news. For we in the east have seen his star, and have ridden fast, and have ridden far, to find and worship the King of the Jews. And the people answered, You ask in vain. We know of no king but Herod the Great. They thought the wise men were men insane, as they spurred their horses across the plain, like riders in haste who cannot wait. And when they came to Jerusalem, Herod the Great, who had heard this thing, sent for the wise men and questioned them, and said, Go down unto Bethlehem, and bring me tidings of this new king. So they rode away, and the star stood still, the only one in the gray of morn,
Yes, it stopped. It stood still of its own free will, right over Bethlehem on the hill, the city of David, where Christ was born. And the three kings rode through the gate and the guard, through the silent street, till their horses turned, and neighed as they entered the great inn yard. But the windows were closed and the doors were barred, and only a light in the stable burned, and crackled there in the scented hay, in the air made sweet by the breath of kine. The little child in the manger lay, the child that would be king one day, of a kingdom not human but divine. His mother, Mary of Nazareth, sat watching beside his place of rest, watching the ever flow of his breath, for the joy of life and the terror of death were mingled together in her breast. They laid their offering at his feet. The gold was their tribute to a king. The frankincense, with its odor sweet, was for the priest. The paraclete, the myrrh for the body's burying. And the mother wondered and bowed her head, and sat as still as a statue of stone. Her heart was troubled, yet comforted, remembering what the angel had said of an endless reign and of David's throne. Then the kings rode out of the city gate, with a clatter of hooves in proud array. But they went not back to Herod the Great, for they knew his malice and feared his hate, and returned to their homes by another way. That was The Three Kings by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Our next story comes to us about an event called Epiphany, the 12th night, as it's referred to. Epiphany is celebrated 12 days after Christmas, usually on the 6th day of January, and is the time when Christians remember the wise men, also called the Three Kings, who visited Jesus. Twelfth Night, or What You Will, is a comedy by William Shakespeare, believed to have been written around 1602, as entertainment for the close of the Christmas season, or Twelfth Night. A king cake is a type of cake associated in a number of countries with the festival of Epiphany at the end of the Christmas season. In other places, it is associated with the pre-Lenten celebration of Mardi Gras or Carnival. It is also popular with many Latino communities and countries. What started out roughly 300 years ago as a bread-type dough with sugar on top and a bean inside is now a sweet, sugary, and ice-type dough braided with cinnamon inside and a small plastic or porcelain doll baked within it or placed under a slice of the cake. King cake is made of a cinnamon-filled dough in the shape of a hollow circle. They have a glazed topping and are sprinkled with colored sugar. Thousands of king cakes are eaten in New Orleans during the Carnival season. Traditionally, a small plastic or porcelain baby is hidden in the king cake. It is usually green, gold, or purple to represent the color of the holiday. Originally, the baby was placed into the king cake to symbolize baby Jesus. Beans were sometimes used to represent and symbolize baby Jesus. Today, the baby symbolizes luck and prosperity to whoever finds it in his or her slice of cake. In some traditions, the finder of the baby is designated king or queen for the evening. That person is also responsible for purchasing next year's cake, or for throwing the next Mardi Gras party. Oh, and by the way, many times now, the little figurine is placed under a slice so that no one chokes on it. Just a little food for thought. 2 Matthew. Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and have come to worship him. When Herod the king heard this, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And assembling all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Christ was to be born. They told him, In Bethlehem of Judea. For so it is written by the prophet, And you, O Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah, for from you shall come a ruler, who will govern my people Israel. Then Herod summoned the wise men secretly, and ascertained from them what time the star appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, Go and search diligently for the child, and when you have found him, bring me word, that I may come and worship him. When they had heard the king, they went their way, and lo, the star which they had seen in the east went before them, till it came to rest over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced exceedingly with great joy. And going into the house, they saw the child with Mary his mother, and they fell down and worshipped him. Then, opening their treasures, they offered him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh. And being warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they departed to their own country by another way. Now then, when they had departed, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, and said, Rise, take the child and his mother, and flee to Egypt, and remain there till I tell you, for Herod is about to search for the child to destroy him. And he rose and took the child and his mother by night, and departed to Egypt, and remained there until the death of Herod. This was to fulfill what the Lord had spoken by the prophet, Out of Egypt have I called my son. Then Herod, when he saw that he had been tricked by the wise men, was in a furious rage. But when Herod died, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, Rise, take the child and his mother, and go to the land of Israel, for those who sought the child's life are dead. And he rose and took the child and his mother, and went to the land of Israel. But when he heard that Herod's son reigned over Judea in place of his father Herod, he was afraid to go there, and being warned in a dream, he withdrew to the district of Galilee. And he went and dwelt in a city called Nazareth, that what was spoken by the prophets might be fulfilled. He shall be called a Nazarene. So for each of us, Christmas is a little different. And each of us has our memories that are fond and some that aren't as fond. But for all of us, we should take the time and a moment to be thankful. At this time, I'd like you to take a moment and share amongst yourself what you're thankful for on this Christmas Eve or this Christmas Day. And if you find yourself alone on this Christmas, I want you to think for a moment in silent contemplation what you're thankful for, or maybe shout out with joy the things that you're thankful for.
Hi, and welcome back. This is John Eldon. I want to thank you for listening to the show, and more importantly, I want to take this opportunity to offer you something. Now, listen, this isn't for everyone. There is a group that this will not be for. I will not speak to you. I get that. That's fine. If nothing else, take this away. If this doesn't work for you, come check it out. Check out this offer. And if it does work for you, or it doesn't, you might learn something, because you might come up with a better idea and say, okay, I can't do his idea. This isn't going to work, but I got other things that I can do. And maybe I can give you some inspiration along the way. That's always a good thing, right? So everybody can use that. And please come and check out the resources. There's a website that I have called Aesops Acres, and that is spelled AESOPSACRES.com. Okay, that's AESOPSACRES.com. Come check it out. It's a sales page. It's for something that you can do. This isn't any kind of network deal. You don't get to promote. You don't get to build above everybody else. But what you do get is to offer products directly. I teach you how to do that locally, to work with groups such as school groups, with sports clubs. And this program allows you to collect a commission based upon these kind of sales. Now, if you've never done sales before, I get it. Hey, not a problem. It may not be yours. But let me ask you something. If you've got absolutely nothing to do, if you're over the age of 18 and you decided, man, I got to find something, come here and check out that site, aesopsacres.com. Maybe it's not for you, but it might give you some other ideas. It's really worth the shot. And what I want you to do is leave here now. If you are, or at least mark it down, bookmark it, and come back to it later. This is your chance to get into the program. It's a real simple $5 deal, and the reason it's $5 is you get all the information. You're going to get all the packet on how to do this stuff, and more importantly, you're going to have ownership. That's why it's $5. I mean, come on, man. I can't. If I gave it to you, then it would be useless to you. It really is that simple. $5. And I can tell you there's some free things on here to tell you how to get to that first $5. Now let me explain something. This may not be a lifetime deal, but it could be a side gig for you. It could be your first job. If you're younger and you want to start this, when you're done, you will have something to build your resume on, because that's always a big deal. How do you get a start? Right? Now, there's rules, there's processes, there's things you got to do, but we're going to teach you every step of the way, and we're going to support you because we're trying to create a network. And by the way, you've heard the message earlier, okay? That is real to me 100% about this Christmas giving time. And the reason I have made this so easy to get into, as well as financially easy, is because it's part of the process, man. I want you to come in, and I want you to give it a shot, and I want you to succeed, because if you don't succeed, no one around you, including your family, will not succeed. Now, what does that mean? How does that work? Quick story, let me tell you real fast. It works this way. If you're at the bottom, and you're going to learn this process through something called Maslow's hierarchy of needs, all right? Life is kind of like a pyramid, and it starts with a broad base at the bottom, and the broad base is simple. You got to provide for your basic needs. You've got to have reasonably good health, mentally and physically. You've got to have food. You've got to have shelter. You've got to have sleep. And then once you get those things, you get to move up to the next level. And that next level is simple. Safety. You got to make sure you're safe, people. Once you're safe, then you move up to a further level. You start learning. You get your self-esteem. There's love. There's all kinds of benefits built into our life. But it all starts by getting that good basic foundation. And I'm telling you, I have been at that bottom. I know what it's like. I was living in a shed for a few weeks, okay? In the middle of spring when there was still snow on the ground. I've been there. But I want to tell you something. I have never been out. I've only been down set. There's a difference. If you are out, or you consider yourself out, there is hope, and you can move forward. And this is one opportunity. And if it doesn't work for you, that's great. Move on to a better opportunity. Now listen, I'm going to leave you with one last message before I sign off tonight. People do care about you. If they are not around you now, it's because you are not walking around the people that you should be. And I want you to think about that. Because out there right now, I guarantee for each and every person, there is someone who has caring for you. And you just got to find that location of where they are. So folks, come by aesopsacres.com, check it out, and listen. Rest well tonight. Rest very well. I'm going to give you some free stuff on this site. Move along. You're going to get it. It's going to be there. All right. This is John Eldon. You can also catch me at johneldon.com. That's ELDEN, JOHNELDEN.com. Sleep well, folks.